Every person who ever destroyed their own life did it in under 10 seconds. A shouted word, a slammed door, a message sent at 2 a.m. that could never be unsent, a relationship, a job, a reputation gone. Not over years, but over one moment nobody planned for. Rage doesn't ruin empires slowly. It ruins them instantly. And 500 years ago, a disgraced Florentine diplomat sitting in exile, stripped of his title, thrown in a cell, tortured by the very government he once served, sat down with nothing but ink, paper, and a mind sharpened by betrayal, and figured out exactly why. His name was Niccolò Machiavelli. History remembers him as cold, calculating, even dangerous. His name became an insult before it became a philosophy. But what almost nobody talks about is this: Machiavelli wasn't teaching cruelty for its own sake. He was teaching command. Command over circumstance, command over enemies, and above everything else, command over yourself. And nowhere is that command more ruthless, more useful, or more badly needed in your own life than in the way he understood anger. Today you get 7 rules. Not therapy. Not gentle philosophy meant to make you feel better for an afternoon. Weapons. The exact instruments Machiavelli handed to rulers who had to stay composed while surrounded on every side by enemies, because the second they lost their temper, they lost their throne. Stay to the end, because Rule 7 is the one Machiavelli treated as absolutely non-negotiable, the single habit that separates the men who rule from the men who spend their whole lives being ruled. Let's begin. Rule 1. The prince never reacts instantly. Machiavelli spent decades inside the courts of Florence, watching rulers rise in a season and collapse before the next one ended. And he noticed a pattern so consistent, it almost felt like a law of nature. The men who fell fastest were never the weakest. They were the ones who acted the instant they felt something. An insult at dinner, a rumor of betrayal, a public humiliation delivered in front of allies. The fragile ruler answers immediately, in the heat, in the open, and in doing so, hands his enemies precisely the weapon they were hoping for. Here's what's happening underneath, biologically speaking. Your brain, the moment it's provoked, is not thinking. It is flooding itself with alarm chemicals, faster than conscious thought can keep pace with. Machiavelli had no laboratory, no scanner, no science of the mind the way we understand it now. But he had something arguably sharper: decades of watching human behavior under pressure with nothing but his own eyes. And what he saw was this: the men who survived courts built entirely on knives were never the ones without feeling. They were the ones who could take the blade of an insult directly to the chest and not let their face move. The move is simple, but almost nobody does it. The instant the heat rises in your chest, you go silent. Not sulking, not shrinking, calculating. 3 full seconds of nothing. In politics, in business, in the argument happening in your own kitchen tonight, the person who speaks first in anger has already lost the exchange, whether they realize it yet or not. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is where the ruler quietly plans the next move while everyone else is busy reacting. There's a reason Machiavelli admired Cesare Borgia so intensely, even while cataloging his brutality without flinching. Borgia rarely acted out of raw emotion. He waited. He let rivals expose themselves first, let their impatience become the very weapon used against them. The lesson wasn't cruelty. The lesson was timing. A blade drawn in anger cuts wildly. A blade drawn in patience cuts exactly once, exactly where it needs to. Rule 2: separate what you command from what commands you. Machiavelli built his entire worldview around one brutal, elegant distinction: fortune and vert. Fortune is everything outside your hands: chance, timing, other people's choices. the chaos of a world that owes you nothing. Vert is the opposite, your own discipline, skill, nerve, and will, the part you actually command. Almost all of your daily fury, if you're honest, comes from confusing the two. Traffic that makes you late, a rival's unearned success, a stranger's opinion of you posted online at midnight. That's fortune. The wheel spins wherever it wants to spin, and raging at it is exactly as productive as shouting at the weather. But your response? That belongs entirely to you. That's vert. And that is the only battlefield on this entire earth where you actually stand a chance of winning. The princes Machiavelli respected most weren't the ones fortune happened to favor. They were the ones who built such total command over their own reactions that fortune's chaos barely touched them at all. Men who could lose a battle in the morning and sit calmly at the negotiating table by evening. The move the moment anger spikes. Ask one cold, precise question. Is this mine to command, or is it fortune's game? If it belongs to fortune, you release it the way you'd fold a losing hand of cards without a second thought. If it belongs to you, you act, but precisely, deliberately, never furiously. Rule 3: see the whole board, not the single piece. A ruler who only sees the insult directly in front of him will lose the entire kingdom standing behind him. Machiavelli constantly advised the leaders he wrote for to step back and view the entire board at once. Alliances still forming, timing not yet ripe, reputation being built or quietly eroded, years still ahead of them before ever reacting to a single move made against them. Right now, whatever is enraging you feels enormous. It's filling your entire field of vision, blocking out everything else. But Machiavelli would ask you to rise above it the exact way he studied Rome from centuries of distance, watching empires that once felt permanent, invincible, eternal, quietly turn into dust and half-remembered footnotes in someone else's history book. The colleague who humiliated you in a meeting, the rival who mocks you publicly, the argument that currently feels like the end of the world. In 5 years, most of it won't survive as even a faint memory. The move, zoom all the way out. Ask yourself, will this still matter once I've built something bigger a year from now? If the honest answer is no, it doesn't deserve your fire tonight. Save the fire for the handful of things in your life that are actually worth burning for. Machiavelli himself lived this rule under conditions far worse than anything most of us will ever face. Exiled from the city he loved, watching younger men occupy the halls of power he once walked freely, he could have spent his remaining years consumed with bitterness. Instead, he sat down most evenings and wrote. He turned humiliation into strategy, into insight, into a body of work still shaping how the world understands power 500 years later. He zoomed out far enough to see that his exile was a single chapter, not the entire book. Quick pause before we go further. If this is landing for you, do one thing right now: tap that like button. It genuinely tells this channel to put more of this exact kind of content in front of more people who need it. And it costs you nothing. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, because we're building an entire library here on power, psychology, and the minds throughout history who understood human nature better than almost anyone alive today. Machiavelli is only the beginning. Now back to the rules, because the next 4 are where this gets genuinely dangerous. Rule 4: rewrite the story before it rewrites you. Machiavelli was, above almost everything else, a master of narrative. He understood something most people never fully grasp: power is rarely just what happens. Power is the story people come to believe about what happened. Here's the twist: almost nobody ever turns back on themselves. Your anger is also just a story. Someone was blunt with you in an email. Story 1 says they disrespected you on purpose. Story 2 says they're buried under pressure you can't see from where you're standing. Same words, same tone, same 5 seconds of your life, and 2 completely different emotional outcomes depending entirely on which story you choose to believe. A ruler who treats every slight as a declared war eventually finds himself at war with everyone around him, exhausted, isolated, and paranoid, surrounded by people he's turned into enemies through nothing but his own interpretation. The move. Before the fury fully sets in, ask yourself one strategic question. What's the more useful interpretation here, the one that costs me nothing and keeps my mind sharp instead of clouded? This isn't naivety. This is strategy dressed as calm. Machiavelli never once asked the rulers he advised to be innocent. He asked them to be intelligent. Rule 5: command the body like you command a court. Machiavelli wrote extensively about appearance and presence, how a ruler carries himself in front of others, how he's perceived by allies and enemies alike, how composure itself functions as a form of raw authority. What he understood instinctively, modern science has now confirmed with hard data. Your body and your mind are not 2 separate systems. They're the same system wearing 2 different masks. A clenched jaw, tightened fists, shallow rapid breathing that isn't simply what anger looks like from the outside. That's the exact machinery that keeps anger alive on the inside. Reverse the machinery, and the emotion has nowhere left to stand. 4 moves, in order, every single time. Breathe in slowly through the nose for a count of 4. Hold for 4. Release through the mouth for a count of 6. The long exhale is what physically calms your nervous system down. Open your hands completely. Fists announce war to your own brain before you've said a single word. Open palms announce control. Drop your shoulders down and back, away from your ears, where anger always tries to pull them. And lower your voice instead of raising it, because nothing unsettles an opponent faster than someone who refuses to escalate, when escalation is exactly what they were braced for. A ruler who appears calm while everyone else in the room is losing their composure has already won that room before a single decision is made. That was never an accident of temperament. That was engineering. Rule 6: remember, every throne eventually turns to dust. This is where Machiavelli turns almost philosophical, almost haunting, in a way people rarely associate with him. He studied the ruins of Rome obsessively, emperors who once commanded armies with a single word, whose fury alone could end a man's life on the spot. All of it eventually reduced to broken marble, and names half the world has already forgotten. If their rage didn't survive the centuries, yours will not survive the week. This isn't meant to depress you, it's meant to set you free. The argument currently eating you alive, the grudge you've been carrying, the humiliation replaying on a loop in your head, none of it is permanent. Nothing ever is. And once you actually feel that truth in your chest, not just understand it as an abstract idea, the grip anger has on you begins to loosen almost immediately. The move. Ask yourself directly, if I had 1 single year left, would this still deserve any of my energy? If the answer is yes, then handle it with total seriousness and zero rage, because it actually matters. If the answer is no, and it almost always is no, release it completely, right now, without ceremony. Rule 7: the nightly audit. Every ruler must perform this is the rule Machiavelli would call absolutely non-negotiable, because he believed no ruler survives long without studying his own mistakes with the exact same intensity he studies the mistakes of his enemies. Every single night, before sleep, you run your own private audit. Not punishment. Intelligence gathering, aimed inward for once instead of outward. Ask 3 precise questions. Where did I lose my composure today? What exactly triggered it? And what would the version of me who actually holds real power have done differently in that same moment? Do this consistently, night after night, and something remarkable starts to happen. Patterns surface. You begin noticing it's almost always the same 3 or 4 triggers, the same time of day, the same type of person setting you off with predictable regularity. And once a pattern becomes visible, it becomes something you can prepare for in advance. Plan your exact response the morning before the provocation even shows up at your door. That is precisely how Machiavelli instructed rulers to treat every threat they faced. Anticipate it long before it's standing directly in front of you. He wrote that a wise ruler does today what a foolish ruler wishes he'd done only after disaster arrives. The nightly audit is that principle turned inward. You become both the wise ruler and the disaster that never gets the chance to happen. Bringing it all together, 7 rules. 1 relentless mind behind every single one of them. 1 silence before any reaction. 2 command what's truly yours. Release everything that isn't. 3 see the entire board, never just the single piece in front of you. 4 rewrite the story before the story rewrites you. 5 command your body first, and let your mind follow its lead. 6 remember it all eventually turns to dust, including your rage. 7 audit yourself every night like your own most dangerous advisor. Understand this clearly before you go. Machiavelli never once asked anyone to feel nothing at all. He advised rulers who felt everything intensely: fear, ambition, fury, humiliation. What separated the ones who lasted from the ones history simply erased was never an absence of emotion. It was total command over it. Your anger was never actually your enemy. Your uncontrolled anger is. Nearly everyone around you spends their entire life reacting on instinct. Very few people ever learn to rule themselves first. And Machiavelli understood, 5 centuries before any of us were born, that the person who learns to rule himself is the only person on this earth who is ever truly safe from being ruled by someone else. So tell me honestly, of these 7 rules, which one are you putting to work first? Starting today, drop the number in the comments below, because I genuinely read every single one. If any part of this shifted how you see your own temper, send it directly to the one person in your life who needs to hear it before their next bad decision costs them something they can't get back. And before you go, if you haven't already, hit subscribe. This channel exists to hand you the exact strategies history's sharpest minds use to master power, pressure, and human nature. And Machiavelli is only where we're starting. Until next time, stay composed, stay calculating, and remember one thing above all else: the ruler who controls himself controls everything.